Hi everyone, Wendy swinging by on your Friday night. Friday night's a great night for stamping. Sorry, I got carried away there. For those of you who live in Australia, you'll know that that's normally what's played on Friday night football. Friday night's a great night for football. Friday night's a great night for stamping. So I'm swinging by tonight live because I wanted to do a tutorial on Stampin Blends about a month ago, but technology was shit and it didn't work. So I'm attempting this again. So let's hope it works this time. If you're swinging by and you're catching me live, feel free to drop a comment, share. So if you comment, share, or, just give me something on there to show me that you're here. I'll pop you in the drawer for a bit of a freebie and I'll show you what that is in a second. So for those of you who follow me a little bit, you'll know that I like to say the word shit and I make no apologies for that. And it's my page, so I can pretty much feel free to do what I like here. I try not to say it too much, but I'm just giving you forewarning. So I'm just going to make sure I'm coming up on Facebook. Otherwise, I'm pretty much just talking to myself, aren't I? Really? Let's be honest. There I am. Excellent. So, I've got a thumbs up. Nice. I've got a like there. So, blends. Let's talk blends for a minute before I flip the camera. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube and tutorials on blends, and people have got 50 million different ways or want to tell you all these ways to use them. And I've heard a few things along the grapevine that I don't necessarily believe are correct. So I wanted to just come on and give you it straight. I'm going to tell you straight exactly how they work the best. Having said that, the disclaimer for this is my opinion, and this is what I find what works for me, and this is what I teach my ladies that come to my classes about blends. Now, the number one thing you need to keep in mind with blends, practice, practice, practice. Don't expect to sit there down on your first time that you open your blends and to have it look amazing. Okay? They don't work that way. You need to spend some time practicing coloring. And it's the same with anything. Did you get into a car for the first time and know how to drive it? No, you had to practice. Did someone pick up a musical instrument and play a symphony for the first time? No, they have to practice, and blends are no different. And so I'm going to give you some tips tonight, and I'm also going to really share, if you're new to using blends, or even if you've used blends for a while, I definitely have a preference for the images that I like to use them with, and I'll talk a bit more about that when we get into it. So I'm going to flip the camera. Tina's on. Hi, beautiful. Oh, good. I've got a viewer. I've got 3 viewers, so that's good. So I'm going to flip the camera and down onto my tray here, and I'm just going to talk about a couple of other things before we get started in the blends anyway. So I am just going to turn it now. So turning it, I've just got to turn it around as well. There we go. I'm still here. I just need now to turn all my lights on so you can see everything. I hate not hearing myself. I do like to hear what I sound like, so kind of get all professional with my camera, of course, and it just never works out that way. That's all right. That's looking pretty good. I'll turn my other light on now. I like the image to be as clear as possible, so there we go. Suppose I can always move that. Oh, it needs to be down this way. Oh, there we go. All right. So, first thing I want to talk about is, if I can make that. There we go. Now I can see myself. Is new catalogue. Exciting. Some gorgeous stuff in there now. I can show you some really nice things. So, I mean, I think this will be probably the best seller in the Magnolia Lane suite. And just the note cards, and I'm going to do a class with that in a couple of weeks. So it's quite a good set. So these have started going out. If you think you should have got one and it hasn't shown up in a couple of weeks, please just send me a message, because it could mean that I didn't put enough postage on it, or it got lost. So available now. Beautiful catalogue. The next thing is just wanted to talk to you just a little bit about, you know, Stampin' Up. And I do have a team of ladies, and they're everything from hobbyists to ladies that are working the business, to people that just want a discount on their supplies. So it's a good time to join. Anytime's a good time to join Stampin' Up, and it will change. It has changed my life to an extent, in that I get to do this pretty much a couple of days a week now, full time. So, which is amazing. I'd love to be able to do it like 5 days a week full time, but these things, you need to work up to these things. It's like anything. So let me know if you'd like a no obligation information pack, or have any questions. I am only too happy to answer any questions that you might have. So that's that. Also wanted to let you know to keep in mind that I will be at, I've still got the wrong date on that one. Logan Craft Alive on the 29th to the 1st of December. So lock it in your diaries now. Yeah, so I'll be there that weekend. I can't believe they've still got the wrong date on that side. But anyway, it's the 29th to the 1st of December. Okay, so let's start colouring. Okay, so this is the card that I made originally with my blends. Great, and let's talk about imaging first. Great image to colour in. And the reason why is it's not a cluttered image that's got lots of shading in the stamp. And what I mean by shading is, if you look at this image, it's got a lot of shading or detail in the red rubber stamp. Now, that's not saying you can't colour this image in. You can, definitely. But this is totally a personal preference. I prefer to colour a nice, clean, lined image like that. Okay? That's just a personal preference. I think it looks better. This one, a lot of the work's been done for you as to where you would lay down the dark colour, is where the red rubber image is. So again, you can use your blends on that, but I like to actually see the blending, which is why an image like this works so much better. So this is another stamp set where you could definitely use your blends to colour in the vases, and I have done that before with these. I definitely probably would choose to maybe use the Stampin' Right markers with these images rather than try and do some blending on those. You could using your texter end, but I just don't know whether it would be worth it. I know some people out there would do it, but again, it's not. I like nice big clean lines to do my blending with. So this is what we're going to do today. Now, for liking, not for liking, for sharing and commenting. And Tina, you already had your name in this drawer because you were one of the people that liked it when I tried to do it last time. But this is a little bit of a giveaway that I'm going to do. So there's a box of the pillow boxes and just a packet of embellishments, which always comes in handy. So that's my giveaway for today. Okay, now I am using a stamp set that's not in the catalogue anymore, and I'm not really going to apologise for that. It's just what I had on hand, so that's what's getting used. I'm just going to try and straighten up my paper because that just sends me nutty. Okay, now I have already stamped and embossed that. And to get a nice image like I've got, I have used black memento and Versamark over the top of that, and then black embossing powder. So I've got a really nice image, and I've done all that on the Stamper Artist. Now, you don't have to do that. You could just stamp in Versamark. For those that are new to stamping, Versamark is a, how would you describe it? It is a clear, quite heavy ink, so it stays wet for a long time. So you can sprinkle your powder on it and then melt it. Oh, I've lost the words tonight. I'll have a cup of tea. Okay, so Stampin' Blends are basically an alcohol marker, and what I mean by that is that the colour or the pigment in these markers is suspended in an alcohol solution, as opposed to a texter or the Stampin' Right markers which we produce, where the pigment is suspended in water or a water-soluble solution. Okay, so that is the difference between an alcohol marker and a Stampin' Right marker if you look in our catalogue. Okay, these effectively come in packs of, well, you can buy them individually, but to create a blend effect, you need, these come in a dark and a light. Now, contrary to, and in the past, before these were brought out, I have used Copic markers before, and I call them Copic. I don't call them Copic. So I have a little bit of experience in using alcohol markers. And I will say this, it is easier to, and this is going to sound weird, but it is easier to blend them with more markers. So the less markers you have in a particular colour, the harder it is to get that colour graduation and blend. I would call the Stampin' Blends as alcohol markers for crafters. Obviously, if you're a graphic artist, you're going to be using something like Copic, which has a colour and numbering system, and it's a bit more, you have to put a bit more effort into actually learning how they work. The beauty with Stampin' Up bringing out more colours over the past probably little while is that we are going to get the opportunity to create some more blends. So what I've got there is dark mossy meadow, light mossy meadow, then I've got, dark Mossy Meadow, dark old olive, light Mossy Meadow, light old olive. Now you could effectively blend with those. That would come out quite nice. And there's nothing stopping you blending across colour families. So here I've got, I think that's Cajun Craze light, and then at the end you can bring in your pumpkin pie light. Okay, you can also blend things that you wouldn't think you could. So smoky slate with balmy blue, which is exactly how I've done the bottom of his feathers here. So the more colours Stampin' Up bring out, the better opportunity we have to learn to blend them. And like I said before at the start of the video, or when I started talking about this, is it's a lot easier to blend the more colours that you have, or the more markers that you can use. And that's got to do with the colour saturation, or graduating your colour. Okay. Okay, next, this is going to be up here. A lot of you are probably going to debate this, but at the end of the day, what I'm saying here is what I find works for me. And so it's typically my opinion. So these come in two ends. You've got your thick end and your thin end. So you've got your texture end and your feather end. Okay. My personal preference is the brush end. And the reason being is you can cover a lot more ground with one stroke than you can with that end. The reason, hi Annette, how you going? The reason you want to cover more with less effort is so you don't bleed outside the lines. So a lot of what you see on, or questions that you see from people online, is I keep my color keeps bleeding outside the line. Straight away I know that that is an oversaturation, and I know that you're probably using the texture end to go back and forth like a texter. Okay, which is great for small areas, but not if you're going, if you are trying to blend and you think it's not blending because you can still see a line, and you come back over it and over it and over it and over it and over it, that is where you are going to see the color bleed. Okay, so using the brush tip, you obviously get a nice big stroke. You can cover more area at once. It does mean sometimes your brush tips will run out, or they'll get a bit ratty before the texture end. So that's why they're not too bad to replace it. I think $7 for one. They should be stored horizontally. Okay, now the other thing is these are not going to last forever, because what does alcohol do? Much to my disgust, if you left alcohol out on the bench, or even kind of with a lid on, alcohol evaporates. Okay, it does the same thing in the markers. It will evaporate. So they're not going to last forever, and there is no refills at this stage. So it's not like a Copic marker where you can buy a refill. You'd need to buy a whole new marker. Okay, so we need to take care of our blends. So they were probably just a few things that I wanted to, a few little myths out there that I had heard around the traps. So I wanted to kind of set you straight on my, again, just my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and colour this little man now after I have a cup of tea. No wine tonight. I've been off wine for like over 2 weeks. I'm drinking white tea tonight. Lotus Peak white tea. It's quite nice. I'm a bit of a tea drinker. I do like my tea. Okay, so let's start with his, and the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is your blender pen. Okay, I'm just showing you a Copic one because I don't actually have a Stampin' Up one. So a blender pen is a colourless marker, and it's a colour lifter. I think we call it a colour lifter in the Stampin' Up. I probably called it a blender pen. What I will say about these blender pens or these colour lifters is use them sparingly. They are not supposed to be used on every single image. If you're practicing your blending, you'll find you have less need for a color lifter. Okay? You should be able to achieve really good blending without the use of a color lifter. I will say that. That's one of the first things I learned. So I'm going to start this little man here. You okay? Do I sound yucky? Tina, I do have a sore throat. I caught that off my child. Feral little things, 5-year-olds are. They touch themselves in places you don't want to know, and then they put them. Anyway, okay. The other tip I will give you is I always start with dark. The reason I start with dark is I need to understand where the shadow is in my image. Most images you will get an idea of where the shadow is, like that car one I showed you before. You can, where the shading is in the stamped image, you can see that's where the dark areas would be. With something like this, it's not so obvious to most people. But what we know about light and how things, and honestly, color theory and light, dark, and shapes and shadows is a whole other tutorial. But I know that typically around the edges of his wings, and I might just zoom in. Just give me a sec, peeps. Oh my God, how do I zoom in? I don't even know. Really? You're not even going to do it for me now, are you? Oh, no. Damn it. This is why you should practice this stuff like way beforehand. Way beforehand. Oh, there we go. There's my zoom button. I knew what I was doing. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. Beautiful. Off the wine. No, Tina, I'm just trying to, lose weight, be healthy, eat a bit cleaner, all that crap. Trying to set an example to my kid. Okay, so I know he's effectively going to be darker, kind of where the feathers meet. Okay, and you can see I'm using the big end. I'm not pressing too hard, I should say. Okay. Okay, I'm happy with that. Then I'm going to come in with my light, smoky slate. Okay, and this is what I'm talking about when I say I want to cover more ground with less strokes. Okay. Now, I know you can still see a line, and that's okay. I'm not doing my pills about that right now. Because what you'll notice with alcohol markers is you can put something to the side, and the color will actually, or the line that you thought was there when you originally came and colored it in, will slowly disperse. And that's part of what paper you're using, and also just the way that alcohol markers actually work. So I can still see a line, and it probably looks like it's kind of blended to you, but if you look there, you can still see there is a definite line. So I'm going to come back over. Again, I don't want to saturate my card too much. You can see I'm really hardly even touching. Okay, now I'm going to leave that. I can still see a line, but I'm hoping that I'm going to move on. And when I come back to have a look at that, it should be gone. Okay, I'm going to start on this one. I know it's going to be darker down in here. I totally get if you're not comfortable using the brush. The brush end does take practice, and that's what I said to you at the start. This is an investment in yourself and in learning how to use blends properly. Because once you do, the catalogue will open up for you. For those that have the new catalogue, one thing you will notice in there is that it is heavy on images that require colouring or that will look better with colouring. I'm not saying you have to colour them in because you could like them just as they are. All right, I can already see now I'm going to have to go back over these ones. I'm not really liking how they're blending. Now, you'll notice I've only used the dark once because the way that blends work, if I go over the dark with the light, I'm hence creating more depth and more darkness anyway. So I'll only often use my dark once just to lay down that initial colour. Now I know it's going to be darker around there. I know it's going to be darker kind of in this area and around here. It's probably going to be lighter in the middle because the light coming down shining on there. I'm going to colour in, blend out those areas, and you kind of probably the only downside I find with these markers is you need to work in smaller areas. I find with the Copic markers, I have a bit more time to work and I can actually go back and reactivate certain sections. These ones I tend to work in smaller areas. Okay, I'm just going to hold that up so you can see how nicely that is blended. Colour. There you go. So that's that. Now I'm going to show you how I've blended the greys with the blues. And it's quite an easy technique to do. So I'm probably not going to use my dark grey for that, or my dark smoky slate. I'm going to come in and lay down some light smoky slate underneath his wings there and just down the side. Okay, then I'm going to come in with my light blue to start with because I can't remember if I used, I might have just used light blue. And you'll go over the top. So part of learning how to blend is knowing that you go back over the top of the first colour that you laid down. And that creates the blend as well. And now down the bottom of these ones down here, I am going to use some dark. Oh my God, did you just hear my husband yawn? He's so feral. He comes into my room, comes into my craft room, and I swear he holds farts in till he gets in here. And then he lets them rip when he's in here. Dirty, dirty man. He would die if he knew I was telling you that, but that's what he does in my craft room. Okay. Again, I know that there is going to be darker areas where these feathers meet each other. Oh, I've got 5 viewers. Everyone else is born on a Friday night too. Okay, I'm going to come in and lay down a little bit of grey. All we need, Jill, oh, Tina, all we need is Jill to log in and then we'll be having a party. Oh, she's probably watching. She probably hasn't said anything. Okay. I've just laid down, gone over with my, now I'm probably just going to use the light. Yeah. And I just went outside the lines. That's not oversaturation. I actually just went outside the lines. It's because I haven't practiced in a while. And when you don't practice, you get rusty. Actually, I haven't picked them up since I did that card. Just haven't had a chance. I just don't want to sit down to bloody crafts. Something bloody happens and someone needs me, and you know, or I'm tired, not feeling well. Sounds like Tanya's here. Sounds like your husband. I know, they're feral. I mean, I'm not meaning your husband's feral. Mine is. Okay, so I've gone over the top. Blended that grey out really nicely. So don't be scared to mix colours up, but you've got to choose which colours you mix up. Okay, or which colours I just need to get it to focus. Sorry, there we go. Which colours you actually mix up. I wish that would focus. Always focuses on the stuff on the desk, not on what I'm showing, or not on what I'm trying to show it. Silly thing. There we go. Knew we'd get there in the end. So that's quite a nice blend. How's my form? It's quite a nice blend. Talking about myself. Okay. Drink a coffee. Oh, drink a tea, I should say. All right. So you'll know I haven't used any colour lifter on that. But I'm a bit, I mean, you guys probably can't see it, but I am just going to come back over this with my light. I want to just please, whatever you do, don't tell my husband I told you. He comes into my room and farts. I'm just going to zoom a bit more in. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, now I'm going to start on his belly tum-tum, as my 5-year-old would say. And I'm going to, I know around these areas that it's going to be, again, where the feathers meet each other. It's going to be darker. And typically you would think the light's going to hit his belly. So now you don't have to think about all these things when you're blending. You could just colour. Like, seriously, you could just colour and do what you want. But, you know, then don't be asking the question, why does it not look any good, if you're not sort of getting an understanding of your image. Oh my God, I'm out of stairs. So you can see I've only probably gone over his tummy right in the centre there once, but I'm going back over the edges quite a few times. Okay, so I've got that nice soft spot in his belly. I'm just checking comments. Yeah, they are pretty colours, aren't they, Tonya? I like them. I like them a lot. And then I'm going to use the same around the top of his, just sort of going where the line is. I'm not, no, don't overthink it. I know some people create beautiful backgrounds and everything with Copics. I do follow a lady who creates the most amazing background. I'm not one of those people that can do that. Again, this might be a bit low actually, I think. Again, I'm just going around and looking at my image from the card. I actually probably didn't put any dark down here or here where I have in this one. Probably should have done it more like that, but anyway. Okay. Now let's start with the green, and I'm just going to show you what I was talking about before, which was now that we are getting more colours, the ability for us to blend across these colours increases. So as I said, this is dark mossy meadow. The text end. And we've got dark old olive. I keep opening up. What's going on there? Oh, my old olive is just cactus, really. Look at that. It's just shocking. Need a new one. Then we've got light. And then we've got light. So that was light mossy meadow, and this is light old olive. So the idea with the light is to come back over the dark. Now, that doesn't look too bad. You could work with that and get it to blend out. So you can actually see, oh, Tonya's up in Imble. Nice, good, nice for you to get away, Tonya. So you can see as we get more colours in our colour family, we can definitely do things a bit better. So for his green that I used, I'm pretty sure I think I used light mossy meadow. Let's have a go and we'll see if this works, hey? It looks crap. Obviously I didn't use this one. I did use this one, I can tell already. And this is one of those sections where the argument could be made to use the text to end, Wendy. Use the text to end. Okay, so I've used the text to end. I'm going to come in with my light. Pretty sure I used light on olive. But again, even with the smaller area, I am still going to use the brush end because I want to only have to go over once, maybe twice. So again, I want to cover a larger area in the shortest amount of time. There we go. Okay. All right, I'm happy with that. I'm not going to blend that out too much more. Oh, Mary Ryan. I think you're in the US, aren't you, Mary? That's why you've said good morning, I'm assuming. Okay, and now his beak. His beak, I'm pretty sure I just used light Cajun Craze, and definitely for this small area, you want to use text to end. Absolutely, every day of the week. And again, I'm blending across color families. So I'm blending Pumpkin Pie and Cajun Craze. Did I know how to do that when I started? Absolutely not. Again, it's practice, people. It's practice. So he's done. He is done and dusted. Let me see if I can get him right up close. Oh, that doesn't help, does it? There we go. All the colours in him. Quite pretty. So again, it would just depend on, why does that keep focusing on the background? There we go. I'll master this camera one day, hey? You guys all shit your pants that I've actually mastered it. So there he is. Now the blending is ever so subtle in this image, like extremely subtle. Actually, see if I can zoom right in with that. It's probably going to be as close as I'll get. Ever so subtle in this image, but it just looks great. And I think it always looks nicer when you do a card that's got black embossing. Definitely, because thanks, Tina. It just finishes it off. It makes it look classy. So that's basically it for my blends tutorial and about my opinion on blends. and how they work the best. And so I'll have a look at my schedule. I don't think I am going to do another blends class, but don't be scared to start using these. As I said, the catalogue is very top heavy on images that require colouring, but that should not scare you off. And I am happy to answer any questions that you've got on how to use them, or understanding shading, dark, light. As I said, at the end of the day, it's totally your choice. You can just colour. You can just colour and do what you want. Doesn't matter. But obviously for this image, you know, it's just so nice. But obviously he's not in our catalogue anymore, so you'll have to find another kind of image to go with it. So that's all from me on. Oh, I love it. You make it look easy. Annette, I can tell you something. It's not particularly, when it comes to explaining myself and how to do it, I kind of struggle with that. But don't overthink it, I suppose. I used to be too scared to even start. And then when I kept practicing and practicing and practicing, it's just, I'd stamp up 10 images and just practice what colours work together, and what colours didn't work together, and can I blend across colour families and all that sort of stuff. And once I got that up, once I got my confidence up, and I was able just to go, just do it. Just do it, man. Just do it. That's what I say. So, yeah, that's it for tonight, peeps. Happy that you all joined me. I think we had 7 people on. Holy moly, shut the front gate. That's probably the most people I've ever had watch a tutorial, because I've not ever done a tutorial much. But thank you for stopping by on Friday night. It's a great night for stamping. That should be my what's the name of the song? So hope you all are going well, and enjoy your weekend. And if you've got any questions, you can pop them up in this thread or send me a message. I'll try and do another tutorial in a couple of weeks using some images from the new catalogue. I'll try and see what comes in my next order and see what I can do. Have a great weekend, everyone, and catch you later. See ya. And I'll do the drawing for people that have commented. I'll do that tomorrow because hubby's away for the weekend and I'll have time to do things. So I'll do that tomorrow. So obviously it's only open to Australian residences. I should have said that, because don't want to be posting to other places. But thank you for stopping by and watching. Okay.